Good morning. Welcome to day 7 of Vlogmas. I am doing a quick project update on all of my Advent stitching. I'm not wearing any high knits today, but this is a cute hoodie I got off of Etsy. I just felt like it was festive. Sorry, the lighting's not the best today, but it's Oregon and atmospheric rivers are coming in this week, and it's just going to be cloudy and rainy, and we're going with it. Anyway, I'm going to show you my projects and my little bowl of Christmas yarn, and I'm going to maybe choose one of them to start my second Sunday of Advent socks. I've got dogs, I've got babies, so it is what it is. This is real life here in my house. Let me start with my Romulus. I have knit most of a sleeve this week. I know, I've been working hard on it. And this is a Knit Picks yarn. Let's see. Oops, I just lost a ball of yarn over the top there. It is Wonder Fluff, bulky weight. It is a 70% baby alpaca, 23% nylon, 7% merino. It is super nice. So I have Finley heather, and then it's also made with this lovely color. And then I plan on adding some of these colors, which were leftovers from another project. Strands of yarn going over the camera. So just kind of using up some leftovers, combining. So I've just started the color work on the second sleeve. So it's getting to the fun part. And I switched from double pointed needles to a circular. And these are Knit Pro Zings in 5.5mm size. This is the interchangeable set. Somewhere in this living room is my actual fixed needle, but I don't know where it went, or maybe it just got caught up in another project when I was showing things the other day. But anyhow, I've got 2 sleeves, or almost 2 sleeves, and then here's the first sleeve. Going for very Christmas color scheme on this. Okay, let me see if I can find some of I took some pictures or screenshots of some pictures. Eventually, I will be a professional on here, and I will actually have like pop-ups, but until that time, here is what the finished sweater yoke will look like. I actually really like this color palette. I don't know if I'm going to knit this exact sweater again, or if I will. Oh, here's another one that's kind of like a little more Christmassy inspired. I don't know if I'll knit it again, or if I'll just do that color palette with another sweater. Here's some more pictures of it. And I really like the green and the pink. So I'm almost kind of looking at some of my hand spun and wool and thinking about how I can kind of create something like that in the future. But anyway, so that is the Romulus. I also need to work on the ribbing this week. So I've got this. This is actually one of my Harry Potter read-along books. I might work on this afternoon and put on the audiobook and listen to, I think I'm almost done with book 2, which I was supposed to listen to while I worked on another project, and I forgot to do that. So I'm going to finish book 2, and then this is actually like my book 3 project. With the trees and everything in the motif, I kind of thought it was a little bit like the Forbidden Forest and where some of the book is set. So it kind of goes with that project. One way to kind of help me stay motivated with a few of these. So that is Romulus. Next up, I've been working on my first Sunday of Advent socks, and I've got most of a cuff. I think I'm going to go a little bit longer. This is Nora George yarn in one of her 4 Sundays of Advent sets from a couple years back. In DK, so I am using size, I believe they're size 2, 2.75mm needles, Knit Pro Zings, my favorite sock needles. I like that the tips are not super pointy, so you don't poke your fingers when you're knitting with them, and their colors are pretty, and it's all one piece, so there's no catching, and they knit fast. So what I have left of the first ball. I'm a little worried that they're going to look Frankenstein by the time I'm done, but we're going to go with it. So pretty soon I'm going to drop the heel and do a heel flap and gusset, and I'm going to use the red color for that, and then I'll knit the foot of the sock and probably do a contrast toe, and then we will go for it on the second sock, and if it ends up Frankenstein, then it's Frankenstein. But anyway, so that's this one. It's simple. I should have done a 1x1 knit rib for the cuff, but I don't know. I didn't think of it at the time. And I might actually try it on the second sock, and they could just be kind of sisters instead of twins. But so it would have flowed a lot smoother from the ribbing to the ribbing of the main body if I did one by one. So maybe I'll contrast that on the next one. So this is a 3x1, I think, broken rib. So basically one round I do knit 3, purl 1, and on the next round I do all knits, which is nice because there's a rest round, but then sometimes I'll blow past on the first needle and forget I'm supposed to do that. So, but I like how it looks. It kind of gives it a little more of a wider structure than if it was just straight ribbing, where it would really kind of slurp up. So anyway, it's kind of like a sporty looking sock. I'm also kind of liking the stripes on the a little further down instead of doing a red cuff. I think it'll be a really cute look once it's all done. I'm a little worried about balancing how much of the leg I want to do to balance with this. Hopefully it doesn't look kind of funny, but I guess I'll find out as I go. But I think because the rest of the sock will be the cream color, I think it'll look okay. And I only have this much yarn, so make it work. My other project I've been working on that's actually, it's going to be saying full words here before I know it. The other project I've been working on a lot lately is my Advent socks, and I have my own little Advent calendar I created a couple years ago where I had a whole bunch of these little mini bobbins of yarn, I think from Haverland Yarn, and I put them in a little Hobby Lobby Advent calendar box. I need to bring that down and show. I keep meaning to do that. And so I've been opening like one little door each day, picking whatever color it is, and then working on these socks. So the top is Knit Picks Hawthorne in the Grants Pass colorway. So it's a really pretty dark brown with like gray undertones. It's like one of my favorite wool colors. And I did 12 row ribbing at the top. And then the way these Advent socks work is each day you count down. So like the first section has 24 rows, and then 23 rows, 22, 21. And then when you get to the next set of colors, you can actually kind of like pick which one you want to put the color on. So I liked the way this peach looked with that one. So then it's 20 rows, 19 rows, 18 rows, 17 rows, and then you just keep going down the foot. Once I have 4 colors on each leg, then I'll do the heel. So this takes a lot of time at the beginning of December, and then also because I keep stopping to count my rows, which I suppose I could use a row counter, but it is what it is. But it'll get faster once I turn the heel because the rows will actually be a lot shorter. It's a lot easier to kind of quickly count how many stitches or how many rows are in each section or stripe, and then at the end there's a lot of ends to weave in. So that's usually where I'll save a favorite podcast or some video of something I want to watch and just sit and weave in ends for 2 hours. But anyway, so that's that project. And my next project I've been working on is my spinning. So this was kind of like I think my first episode of Vlogmas, I showed what the fiber looked like. And this is Polworth from Nest Fiber Club? No. Hello Yarn. I think it's Hello Yarn Fiber Club. And it is the Spine Tangler. It's from like 2022. Polworth base. So this is going to fluff up a lot once it's washed, because I found that with a lot of Polworth. Well, I think, oh, I've spun it so fine, it's going to be a finger weight, and then it'll be a DK weight. So anyway, so that is what I have so far in this. Now I want this to be a 2-ply, and I want it to kind of match up somewhat. I mean, they're going to be barber pulling. Now, if you'll notice, if I were to just start plying from right here, they don't look identical. So there's immediately going to be barber pulling in the skein that's going to continue the whole way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a storage bobbin and rewind them onto the storage bobbin and then ply. And then that will mean that it'll start at the same color on both, because where I broke the braid in half, it was the same at the top. So it'll definitely match at the top. And then it seems like when I do that, it'll match more throughout. And then it does something magical to the yarn. I forgot to grab the skeins that I wanted to show you, but I will show those next time. Maybe after I get these rewound, I'll show you the other skeins I wanted to talk about and then show how it looks. It makes the yarn just fluffier. It makes it almost more of like a woolen spun feeling when you ply them up. I'm probably actually not going to ply them until probably the last week of December. I'll show my basket of bobbins. I've been saving up my bobbins for a while. I like to do plying kind of all in one weekend or 1 week, just because like a lot of those steps become kind of repetitive. So it's nice to have like a batch to do, you know, or if I'm rewinding yarn, I'm doing a couple skeins, or if I'm just washing, I'm doing a couple skeins at once. Anyway, so that is that project. Lots of pretty colors, and I can't wait to see how it plies up. But hopefully they don't actually start barking. So my other thing I wanted to talk about today is I've got a bowl of beautiful yarn. It should actually be like the picture if I remember to do that. So what I've been doing, even if I've not really been in a sock knitting mood, is every season I go into my stash and I just pick pretty skeins and balls of yarn and put them in this bowl. And this is just a Pottery Barn bowl, although like really any pretty bowl will work. And I just display it in my dining room, and it's inspiring because I see colors that I like, and sometimes I actually pull one out and knit on it. And then I just switch it out with the seasons. So let me show you some of what I have in here. I also have this one in here. I took it off the top because it was going to fall. This is Molly of a Homespun House. This is one of her Christmas colorways. I think in her advent calendar a couple years ago. I think this was like the whole skein, and it's just very pretty with greens and reds and gray. This I want to turn into a Hermione's everyday sock, but I'm waiting for a pair of Knit Pro things to arrive from Amazon today to start these. I figured like with the colors and the variegation, it will look really pretty in that. Here are the other needles I have free to use today. So these are Knit Pro 2.5 millimeter. And because these are slightly bigger needles, I'm going to choose one of these skeins that would be better suited to it. So like this particular skein, here, I'll just show one at a time, is Trekking XXL and colorway 45120. And because this is kind of a finer gauge, I want to use this on size zeros. So I also ordered some size zeros, but this will knit up a lot nicer at that size needle. They'll last longer, the fabric will look better, and so that's what I found with like some of the skinnier yarn, what I need to do. So I need to start that. I'm just gonna start all these socks at some point. Why not? This is the Nomadic yarns. This is one that I wound up myself to look like one of these cute little balls of yarn. This one actually came from the yarn seller, like it. This is Yarn Jar, and this is the Reindeer Games, and this is Letters to Santa. So I'm honestly like I'm starting to get in the habit, like if I have a really pretty hand-dyed self-striping yarn, to wind them up like this, because it is so much prettier and much more inviting. So maybe I'll start one of these, not this week, maybe next week. One of the ones I want to look at starting today, oh, here's another Trekking XXL. Here's another one. This one is color 45036. As you can see by comparison. So pretty. Just turn all the Christmas socks. Why not? Be irresponsible and just have so many sock webs. Anyway, I want to start one of these today using these needles, because this is a slightly thicker yarn than the other ones, and I think it'll work up well on this needle and this gauge. So this is Ferner. I'm not going to try to say that. And this is one that I went online a couple years ago and found like a website in German and ordered them, and had like a whole big box show up, and it was so much fun. And even with the cost of shipping, it was still cheaper than buying a couple of skeins off of someone who's reselling it in the States. So anyway, so this is beautiful sock yarn. It is squishy. It's kind of more of a sport weight. Here's the color 978, made in Austria. So here's one. This is kind of the one I'm leaning towards starting. Another color. This one's really pretty too. Maybe I'll let him pick which one I should start. And this is color 949-2. And this one is color 951. And I've got a whole big basket of Christmas sock yarn upstairs. If you're interested, let me know, and I can always do a stash show and tell of some of my other Christmas skeins. But these are the ones that were particularly inspiring this season, of ones that I might want to stitch or just might want to look at. So anyway, I have that. So anyway, I do think I'm going to start these today, though. I like the color. That's very candy cane. But anyways, I know. What do you think? Do you like that one? It matches your shirt. Anyway, so thank you so much for watching my little video. I haven't decided what I'm going to show tomorrow. I have some cross stitch haul from Black Friday that I want to show because I'm a cross stitcher too. I haven't cross stitched in a while, and I'm kind of feeling the bug to want to cross stitch again. And I want to quilt again too. It's been a few years since I've quilted, so hopefully lots of interesting crafty content. And so I might do the craft show and tell tomorrow, or I don't know. I also want to do a video at some point where I just kind of talk about my pointers for knitting color work. Because I don't know if I knit color work different than other people do. I know I hold all of my yarn in one hand, so I don't know if that's different than other people. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow for the next day of Vlogmas.